A subscriber asked me a question about whether he should buy a Fender Mustang LT25, which is one of the new amps that Fender has, modeling amps, which is very affordable, like $150, or the Fender Mustang 1 version 2. I don't have the version 2, but I'll tell you right now, you'd have to fight me to get my version 1 away from me. I bought it probably back in 2011, and I'm going to grab the GoPro that I'm using to record this. I'll show you what I got here. Over here on my left, I have a version 1 Mustang. That's what it looks like on top. It is a solid state amp. It is a very early, I guess, modeling amp, but it's got a lot of different features and things on it, a lot of different amp models. Over here on my right, I have a Mustang LT25. I'm going to get to this some play in here just a minute. Typically over here on the left, I will have the Vox VT20X. I got it set aside for tonight so I can do this kind of talk here. So I'm going to put the GoPro back for a moment. So let me tell you, one of the questions people don't ask me, I guess, is why do I own all three of these amps? Well, first of all, I got the Mustang 1. Let me turn this down just a little bit. I got the Mustang 1 back in 2011. I was at a place in Asheville called Musician's Workshop in Asheville. And there was a guy there, a guitar tech, and I was asking him what would be a great practice amp to have if you want to keep one in your office, just to jam around with your buddies or something you don't want to drag around, very light and easy to work with. And he took me directly to that Mustang 1 amp. And I have to say, I sat there and played with it for a little while, loved it, loved the sounds, and it's just fantastic sounding. And so then fast forward about 4 or 5 years, and along about, 2016 or 17, somewhere along in there, I got the VT20X. I got that amp because it did have a tube in it, and I do like the sound of a tube amp. It doesn't have to so the VT20X is sort of a hybrid, right? It's analog, but it has a tube. It has tube gain. It has basically the same sort of sound you get if you were to crank a tube up. It's got an AX7 in it, and so you can get really nice, smooth overdrive sounds and stuff with it. And I have to say, ultimately, I still liked the clean sounds better with the Fender. I liked a lot of the distorted sounds, even though they weren't tube-based. So I was not going to give up my Mustang 1. And I found out that the two amps complemented each other. Well, so also do the two Fender amps that I've got here. I don't think, the LT25 would have existed had it not been for the Mustang 1. Naturally, you can tell just with the sounds and everything that the one evolved into the other, what I'm saying. There's still certain things, though, that I like about the older Mustang, the sounds and stuff they get. Like I got a couple of sounds. I got the similar sounds dialed up now, and I've got this little Zoom recorder. I wish it could hear exactly what I'm hearing. It's not going to. I mean, it's a very limited kind of quality recorder, but maybe you'll be able to hear. I've got differing delays on each amp and differing levels of. These are both like Fender clean sounds. And I've got differing tremolo on both of these. And I just love to immerse myself in that sound sometimes. I dig on that, man. And so what do I think about, should I go through and do a demo? I've done demos of both of these amps. Go back and look at those if you like to. What do I think really, the big advantage now with the LT25, to answer your question, is you get all these presets, tons of presets now, and you got access to Fender tone. And there's some things I really do like. I like the metal gate that comes with this. Really great noise gate that comes with the LT25. I like sort of the ease of programming. If you can get one of the Fender amps, they've discontinued Fender Fuse, which is what you use to program the Mustang 1. I still got it on my PC. I got it on my laptop. So if I need to program sounds and get really nitty gritty down with it, I use that Fender fuse. But the Mustang is built for the past, and it is in the past, and it has evolved into the LT25. Do I think the LT25 sounds better? No, I don't. I think they sound comparable. I think certain things are better. There's some blues sounds and stuff. Some of the distortions, I just like the distortions sometimes better on this amp than I do on the LT25. But then, man, there are certain effects and things over here, and the quantity of what you can save, and the way Fender Tone works with it. I've already done my one dig on the LT25, and I think they will eventually probably fix this, is I wish you could put distortion before your metal gate. That's why I have bought some little tube screamers and stuff that I use before I go down, and nothing wrong with the tube screamers and the distortions and stuff with the LT25. They're a bit noisy for me, and I love the metal gate. Fantastic noise gate, very natural sounding, doesn't choke off the notes at the end. You get lots of good sustain. Matter of fact, I've got it on. If you were to listen really closely, you'd hear a little bit of noise coming from over here where I don't have that on the Mustang 1. And over here it's totally silent. So I could real easily jump through some different combinations here, but at the same time, I'd rather probably not do that tonight. Like I say, you can go back and watch those other videos. I think my best advice is if you really like a classic Fender sound, and you really like the good clean sounds and some really nice analog type distortions, and it's only $10 cheaper, right? I think it's like $139 to get the Mustang 1 version 2. I don't have the version 2, I got the version 1, but I love it, and I'm not going to give it up. You might want to go that way if you're more of you twist the knobs. There are presets you got. What do you got? 40 presets with it, or 20 or 40 or something like that. And so you can do presets. You probably still can get an old version of Fuse, but it's not going to be supported anymore. So if you like that kind of amp, then you might want to go that way. But for $10 more, you get the newer technology. It's built for the future. And I would say that the LT25 probably is the way most people are going to go. And I mean, my goodness, for the amount of money that these things cost, $139, I mean, you might want to do what I do and get both. And you might, while you're thinking about it, also think about getting a Vox VT20X. The VT20X is getting just a bit long in the tooth. It's been around, like I say, probably 5 years now. And I'm sure Vox is going to be coming up with something new soon. But I love all three of these little amps in the kind of atmosphere that I like to play in, which is just, small, in my studio type stuff. And I've got bigger amps. I've got several other Fender amps. I've got my Katana 100 that I would take out and play a lot of places. I've got a Helix over here to my right that I'm still learning how to program and everything. I got a Variax back up here behind me that I'm learning how to integrate with the Helix. So I'm sure for future things, if I'm actually going to go out and play with some people, I'm going to be using the Helix and the Variax just because of the flexibility of it. But when I'm sitting here in the studio, I've generally got this tandem. I've either got the two Fender amps or I have a Fender and the Vox together, and I create stereo type sounds, and I just get back and just mellow out and jam with it. And it sounds killer. I wish you were here in the studio with me where you could hear how the sound just swirls around from these two 8-inch speakers. And listen, if you want to go out and play, both of these amps are very loud too. I say go out and play. I don't know if you want to gig with it, you small club maybe, micing the amps up or something like that. But I will tell you this: I go out and jam practice with my buddies, and I take these little 20-watt amps, and a guy with a full kit and bass player, another guitar player, and I still am heard. You know, I've still got really just about everything I need. I've got a VT40X that I take out sometimes if I think it's really going to be loud, because it is a decent bit louder than the VT20X. But my advice is, if you like to twist the knobs, you like really cool analog sounds, particularly distortions, really good, again, tremolo, delays, reverbs, and you want to, save 10 or 15 bucks, then you might want to go with the old Fender Mustang. I just like it. I dig mine. I like it. I like the way it sounds. But I gotta say, man, I'm dialing in some great sounds with the LT25. 200 presets now. Fender Tone. Fender Tone's great to use. Great interface. So I love to do my programming stuff over there. I'm trying to create a bank now of sounds for each of my favorite guitars. I'm gonna soon do a series of videos, my top 20 sounds that I've created personally for my Telecaster, my top 20 sounds for my Strat, my top 20 sounds for my Les Paul, and my top 20 sounds for my hollow body guitars. Probably use my Washburn HB35 for that video, or an Ibanez AS93. So anyway, peace to all who watch, subscribe to the channel. I hope I've answered the question. I know it's a bit murky. Here's the thing, all these amps sound great. You're not going to go wrong with any of these. And for the money, man, less than 150 bucks, it's crazy to not get some of these little amps. And you can have so much fun in the studio with them. I think they're perfect for recording. They're perfect for practice. They're perfect for going out and jamming. Could you gig with them? I think you certainly could if you mic the amps up the right way. They're just awesome. I don't understand why anybody would want to go out and spend $1,000 for an amp now. I realize that there are people that are purists and they want they're tone chasers, and I've never been a tone chaser. I just like something that sounds nice, and I just think that. That sounds nice, man. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope I've answered your questions. Good evening.